Spring has officially sprung. Birdsong fills the balmy air as bright sunlight sparkles in the morning dew. After months under monochrome skies, the world has come alive once more with vibrant colors and the fresh, earthy scent of newborn vegetation. It's a perfect time to go for a stroll and feel the soft kiss of a cold breeze on your cheeks. Or so I'm told. Personally, I've been enjoying the soft light of illuminated OLED sparkling in my Mountain Dew and the warm, buttery scent of new popped corn. The changing of the seasons means a new season of anime is upon us too. And nice as outside supposedly is, the colors in anime are always that little bit more vibrant. But that's me. I know that some of you weebs really like your occasional doses of fresh air and seeing your friends and family and not being incorrectly declared a missing person for a week, and those things don't always leave time to wade through the quarterly deluge of new Japanimation to sort out the good from the bad. That's why I'm here, to guide you away from the season's biggest disappointments and maybe help you find a few hidden gems off the beaten path. As always, I won't be talking about continuing series or sequels on this list since I assume that most of the folk who are interested in those will already be watching them. With that said, these are the 10 new anime that you should be watching in spring 2019. And what more fitting way is there to kick off a spring anime list than with a flowery shoujo romance like Fruits Basket, which is the latest unfinished anime adaptation to get the Brotherhood treatment and receive a remake that more closely follows the manga. Fruits Basket, if you're not familiar, is a love story about a cheerful young girl named Toru who finds herself living with the family of the hottest boy in school, the Soma clan, a family of mostly handsome dudes who are cursed to transform into animals when hugged by the opposite sex. The original Fruits Basket manga is one of the most influential and acclaimed works in its genre, and the 2001 anime adaptation holds a special place in a lot of weebs' hearts and is many people's gateway anime. Now, to be fair, I'm not one of those weebs. I never watched the original series when I was younger, and when I gave it a shot for the first time a year ago, despite the fact that I generally love shoujo stuff, I just couldn't get into it for a variety of reasons, not the least being its harsh-looking, poorly aged early digital animation. But with better production values and a generally softer, less cartoony aesthetic and tone, the new anime managed to tear down every barrier to entry the old one put up in front of me, and within a few minutes of starting the first episode, I knew I was on board for the full season. I have instantly fallen in love with these characters, I'm intrigued by the overarching mystery of the series, and I want to see more. If you've got any inclination toward enjoying shoujo romance series, well, you're probably watching Fruits Basket already, honestly, but if you're not, even if you didn't like the original show, and especially if you hated how it ended, I would say that this one is a must-watch. If Fruits Basket is a throwback, then our next anime, Robihachi, is a straight-up anachronism. Its aesthetics are right in line with modern digital anime, but its subject matter and story are decidedly not. In a lot of ways, it feels like an ancient lost ark of Gintama, written at a time when modern shonen anime was but a glimmer in Akira Toriyama's eye, and the market was ruled by super robots and Star Wars-inspired space operas ripe for parody. That Gintama comparison isn't a coincidence. Robihachi is an original anime directed by Shinji Takamatsu, who previously directed Gintama, School Rumble, Grand Blue Dreaming, Ixion Saga DT, and a lot of other very funny anime, and who got his start in the 80s working on the likes of Gundam and Dirty Pair. So, needless to say, Robihachi is both very funny and very faithful to the shows that it's parodying. The series follows a duo of losers from Neo Tokyo named Robbie and Hachi who travel the stars in search of a legendary planet called Isakander, which is said to grant happiness to all who visit it, but is almost certainly just a tourist trap. Along the way, they're pursued by a trio of vicious loan sharks, but luckily they're able to defend themselves with a giant robot that is definitely not Mazinger, and that plays its own rockin' theme song through its intercom system whenever they fight with it. For a certain subset of old-school anime fans, this will likely be your favorite show of the season, but even for the rest of us who don't catch all the deep cuts, it's a fun ride packed with good laughs and great characters. Now, if you feel nostalgic not just for the feel, but the look of 80s anime, Robihachi might not quite scratch your itch, but Mix Meisei Story is here to pick up the slack. Mix is a spiritual successor and distant sequel to cross-game author Mitsuru Adachi's hit series from the 80s, Touch. Set at the same middle school 30 years after the first series ended, which hasn't had a successful baseball team since, Mix follows a pair of brothers, a pitcher and catcher, who between them have the potential to bring their once great team to new heights. Blending baseball with lighthearted comedy and touching romance is what Adachi is known for, and pretty much all he does, actually, but he is really, really good at it, and even in its first episode, Meisei's story is showing a great mix of interpersonal drama, fun slice-of-life shenanigans, and sports anime hype. If you're a fan of shows like Baby Steps, yes, all two of you, I've got a feeling you're gonna love this series. Fair warning, this is looking like it will be a multi-seasonal show, so if you do get into it, you will be in for the long haul. With Pokemon Studio OLM animating it, it should stay pretty consistently decent throughout that lengthy run, but if long shows intimidate you and you want a quicker baseball fix this season, Cinderella 9 might be more your speed. It's got the feel of an Idol Club Moe show, with a focus on cute girls encouraging each other to do their best, but with the singing and dancing replaced with hitting bases and running homes. I know how sports work. Now, if you're not into baseball, or that's not enough cute girls doing cute things for you, stay tuned, because this season has plenty more to offer. For example, Hitori Bochi no Marumaru Seikatsu, or simply Hitori Bochi, because I'm not doing that to myself every time I talk about this anime, is a cute little slice-of-life show about a young girl with severe social anxiety named Hitori Bochi, which literally means alone, whose best friend from elementary school has vowed to stop talking to her unless she can befriend every person in her new middle school class. As you can probably guess from its premise, this is a lighthearted, low-stakes comedy about growing up and making friends. For the most part, it's pretty dang funny, driven by adorable interactions between eminently likable characters. But in dealing honestly with the fear of putting oneself out there, it also hits some poignant emotional beats. And with a script penned by Nichijou and Yorimoi writer Juki Hanada, who is very good at that kind of thing, it hits them pretty hard. I'm a sucker for anime that can make me laugh and make me feel things, and especially as someone who struggled to make friends in high school, this show has done a great job of both. If you're socially awkward and can do with some emotional catharsis, or you'd like to laugh at yourself but not in the cynical I want to not exist right now Watamote kind of way, I cannot recommend Hitori Bochi enough. There is probably a limit to how much I can recommend After Lost, but I'd like to recommend it nonetheless. After Lost is a sci-fi series about a tough-as-nails underground scooter courier named Takuya who takes on an unusual delivery job. He has to make his way to a city that disappeared into thin air 3 years ago called Lost, with the sole survivor of the event, a mysterious teenage girl named Yuki, in tow. And to get there, he's gonna have to race his way past hordes of government agents, psychic ghosts, and ugly CGI helicopters. Yeah, this series is a bit of a mess, but it also has a lot going for it. Shigeyuki Miya, who previously directed Onihei, Bokura wa Mina Kawaiso, and Blood Lad, has always infused his work with a certain cinematic flair. And though After Lost designs and animations are a little bit lacking, it is no exception to that rule. Strong cinematography and editing lend this anime the air of a Hollywood blockbuster, and make it more exciting and visually engaging than a mobile game adaptation has any business being. I am more than a bit hesitant about recommending After Lost, though, because while there is a lot to like about it, there's also a lot to hate. Personally, I really like how the first episode just jumps right into the action with little exposition, but it's undeniably more than a bit rushed and confusing, as game adaptations so often are. And some people already do hate it quite a lot. You might also hate it if you watch it, and I apologize if that's the case. But personally, I really dig it, and I would like to put it on the radar of other people who might dig it as well. Still, I don't want to leave anyone who doesn't dig it with only 9 anime to watch this season, so if it's not to your taste, I suggest supplementing it with 2 short anime under 12 minutes long. My personal favorites this season are Ao-chan Can't Study, which is a cute, if slightly generic little rom-com, and Isekai Quartet, which is basically Konosuba 2.5 with the characters from Overlord, ReZero, and Tanya the Evil mix in. Actually, that second one is so good that I'd recommend making time for it no matter what, which means this is technically a top 10.5 list, or 11.5 if you count Cinderella 9. Please don't tell the YouTube police. On the subject of isekai and cops, though, I'm pretty sure that it's illegal to launch a new anime season without at least one series about a sad nerd who's hit by a truck and ends up in a world full of magic and monsters, and this season's new That is actually really good. The Wise Man's Grandchild is just about as cliched as isekai anime get, really. A guy dies, he's reincarnated as a baby in a fantasy land, and he ends up being raised by a wise old wizard named Merlin, because of course he is, who trains him in the art of magic. Naturally, he's the best at that, and also fighting and all the other RPG stuff, but the twist is, the wise old wizard grandpa never taught him common sense, which is a bit of a problem when someone can make literal nukes out of thin air. So he's got to learn how to adult at a magic academy now. I'm almost falling asleep reading that premise out loud, but The Wise Man's Grandchild executes on it beautifully. It's animated in a very appealing, slightly exaggerated style that makes action scenes look fun and dynamic, and character interactions feel suitably charming, and the characters doing the interacting are just great. Our protagonist, Shin Wolford, is a bright, optimistic, and precocious young lad, and Merlin is just the sweetest granddad I've ever seen, and I want to give him the biggest hug. The show's greatest strength is that, much like that time I got reincarnated as a slime, it takes itself seriously, but not too seriously. It's aware that it's working with very well-worn tools and pokes fun at its own cliches from time to time, but it also knows how fun a well-spun fantasy yarn can be, and it doesn't get so cynical as to undermine that. This is hearty, nourishing anime comfort food, basically, and once you get a taste of it, I've got a good feeling that you'll be craving more. But if it's not quite comforting enough for you, you might be in need of the helpful fox Senko-san, an adorable show about an adorable fox girl demigod who descends to Earth for the sole purpose of pampering a miserable, overworked salaryman so that he doesn't want to die so much. And the Senko-san anime is intended to serve much the same purpose in your life. Its comedic elements are light and inoffensive, chuckle-worthy at best, and its plot is virtually non-existent, really, but it's very cute and very wholesome, and a great show to watch if you need to just sit down and relax. It's an Iyashikei, or healing anime, that makes zero pretense about having any other purpose. There's even a POV segment after the credits of each episode where Senko-san just talks to you directly and helps you chill out. In being so blatant about its desire to distract you from life, Senko-san ironically serves as a poignant reminder that you live in a world where in all likelihood the best years of your life will be spent serving a giant unfeeling corporate entity that will gobble up all the value you generate and pay back only the bare minimum you need to survive, if it even pays back that. But look at how fluffy her tale is, though. And in an odd way, that's kind of what makes Senko-san work. Unlike many other shows in its genre, it doesn't create a world where that shittiness doesn't exist. It acknowledges that Nakano's life, and by proxy that of its target audience, kinda blows, and it says, hey, I know, but maybe you'll be a bit happier if you don't worry about that when you don't have to. And putting the existential horror aside, that is nice. This show is really nice, and sometimes that's all you need from an anime. But if you're looking to watch a show that will make you feel the opposite of relaxed, then Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba may be up your alley, because this is one of those series where seeing people be happy and relaxed and nice to each other only makes you fear deeply for their safety. Case in point, this series kicks off with our hero, Tanjiro Kamado, saying a cheerful goodbye to his loving family as he heads off down the mountain to sell charcoal, only to find them all brutally slaughtered by man-eating demons when he returns the next morning. Well, all but his sister, Nezuko, but she's, kinda turning into a man-eating demon herself. So in order to help cure her and take revenge on the demon who killed his family, Tanjiro must take up the blade and learn to hunt demons himself. This is the latest example of my favorite ongoing trend in anime, a much-hyped Shonen Jump manga adapted by a capable studio into a well-produced single season, instead of being pumped out in mediocre weekly installments by the likes of Studio Pierrot. With Ufotable on the job and Tales of Zestiria director Haruo Sotozaki at the helm, Kimetsu no Yaiba is an unsurprisingly gorgeous anime, featuring thrilling, dynamic camera work, stark, beautiful CGI backgrounds, and tense, tightly choreographed action scenes. By all accounts, the manga this is based on is pretty darn great too, so as guaranteed reliable sources of hype go, this season you're not likely to find one better. However, if you're willing to take a bit of a gamble and looking for some more hype, I'd also suggest giving Fairy Gone a shot. As this is a PA Works original anime, there's no source material we can look at to see how it will shake out, but its premise, at least, holds promise. Set in a world where fairies imbued with the traits of animals are used as stand-like weapons by so-called fairy soldiers, the series follows agents of the government organization Dorothea as they fight to prevent those fairies from being used for evil by terrorists and the mafia. There's a fairy mafia and fairy terrorists. Okay, I tried to play it straight, but this show is just impossible to take seriously on a conceptual level. Its core premise is way too silly, and yet it takes itself 110% seriously, with an unrelenting grimdark atmosphere and po-faced war is hell storyline that only make it funnier. Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash scribe Ao Jumanji is one of the only writers I can think of who could pen such a patently ridiculous plot without a hint of irony, and Kenichi Suzuki, who previously directed Drifters and co-directed the first 3 seasons of JoJo, is the perfect man to bring it to life. Under his direction, Fairy Gaun's action scenes have proven to be unambiguously kick-ass and hype, with solid animation and some delightfully gratuitous deaths, and its character interactions are just over the top and melodramatic enough to be funny without being unenjoyable for those less cynical folks who do want to take it at face value and get invested in the story. It's kind of a perfect ironic watch anime because, as silly as it is, it's also undeniably very well made. The worst case outcome for this show is that it ends up being boring, but right now that doesn't seem very likely. And whether it has a legitimately good ending or a laughably goofy one, I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it. Now, on the subject of goofy anime, I've saved one of the best shows this season for last. Sarazanmai is the latest original anime from Sailor Moon director and Revolutionary Girl Utena creator Kunihiko Ikuhara, who, if you're not familiar with his work, has made a career out of crafting weird and wonderful stories that defy convention in every sense of the word. He's known for surreal animation and audacious sense of humor, and for the progressive and transgressive ideas that he infuses into all of his work. If you've seen his other shows, Mawaru Penguin Drum and Yurikuma Arashi, the man really needs no introduction, and you've probably already watched the first episode of Sarazanmai at least twice already. If you haven't, though, you really should, but this is his most technically accomplished series to date, and a fantastic way of acquainting yourself with his distinctive style and sensibilities. The show's story is about 3 boys who are turned into Kappas after angering Kepi, the heir to the Kappa Kingdom throne, and forced to fight evil Kappa zombies in order to regain their human forms. And I don't want to spoil the experience of discovering this show's oddities for yourself, so that's all I have to say about it for now. Well, okay, a bit of warning, Sarazanmai is more than a little risque, though not like most anime you've seen. It has almost zero fan service, but you might have to answer some questions if anyone walks in on you watching it. Whenever you can stop laughing, that is. Ikuhara's not the only legendary anime director with a new show this season, but unfortunately Carol and Tuesday, the new Shinichiro Watanabe series that's being made to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Bones, is stuck in Netflix jail for the foreseeable future. So while it was literally my most anticipated series this year, I'm gonna have to wait until it's out before I can actually recommend it. You better believe I'll be talking about it a lot when it finally drops, though. With all that said, there you have it, the slightly more than 10 anime that you should be watching this season. Let me know in the comments below which ones are your favorites and what other anime, new or old, you're watching right now. And while you're down there, before you hit subscribe and do the other things, click the link in the doobly-doo to check out this video's sponsor, Purple Mattresses. You're probably familiar with the bed-in-a-box concept by now, but Purple isn't just another rectangular chunk of memory foam. Their patented Smart Comfort grid layer, made from an equally patented hyperelastic polymer, is designed to cradle your body, providing support for pressure points while allowing the heaviest parts of you to sink right in. And speaking from experience, it works wonders. I've slept on quite a few cheap and expensive memory foam mattresses in my time, as well as more traditional bedding, and I can attest that I've gotten the best sleep of my life on my Purple mattress. On my old Casper, I got used to waking up every morning with aches and pains, but since switching to Purple, that's a thing of the past. And getting a better night's sleep has allowed me to be a lot more productive. Or it would have, in theory, if it weren't so darn comfy to lie down and play Switch and watch anime on. Still, a good night's sleep is one of the best long-term investments you can make, so if you'd like to get on a Purple mattress of your own or see their other great products like pillows and sheets for yourself, go to purple.com/basement basement or click the link in the doobly-doo today. Now, until next time, I'm Jeff Thu, professional shitbag, signing out from my mother's basement.